Hey, hello there. In this video, I want to touch on a very topical and trending subject, which is Copilot for security. Just a few days ago, Microsoft announced the plans for release for Copilot for security. That was at the Microsoft Secure event held in March 2024. Some exciting news came through it, and I want to go over some of them here and talk to you about the 5 most exciting things about Copilot and that you should know before release. So let's dive in. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to cover here is going to be what is Copilot for security. Okay, so that's going to be very important because I'm going to go through some public documentation that you can currently access today and learn more at your own pace. Secondly, I'm going to talk about how it works. This has been something that has been also talked about in documentation, but also in what's been put out after Secure. And you're likely going to have to know about this. Next up is who Copilot works with, right? So this is very exciting because at Secure and in public documentation, I'm going to show you an image with a lot of partners that Copilot is working currently. And of course, when will you be able to access it? And the last thing, the 5th thing is how much will it cost? But that one, well, listen up. Let's go through the video and you'll listen to more about it. All right, so let's talk about what has been announced at Microsoft Secure in March. So seeing on screen right now, you're looking at the official blog post about Microsoft Copilot for Security, general availability details. All right, so essentially they announced a range of videos on the subject, and you should definitely look into the on-demand content. There was 2 hours worth of content about AI governance and Copilot for security. So topics that are top of mind for a lot of my customers. In fact, all of them. Okay, so be mindful of that. Now, something else that they released was a lot of research around the benefits and the gains that customers utilizing the early access have seen. Right, so that's important, and those are official studies based on customer feedback. So in general, by the way, there has been a response that with Copilot for security, security analysts and engineers have been 22% faster in their day-to-day jobs. That is impressive work, right? So they use the term about getting a day worth of work every week. Well, 20% faster to do your tasks is something very relevant. Almost a day in a week, right? And almost 100% customers, 97% customers have said they want to use Copilot for security next time to do the same task. So that's massive gains based on the early access customers. Now, there's a range of capabilities that I'm going to go through next, but be mindful. This blog post right here is a great start, but where I want to start with today with you guys is what is Copilot for security. So this document right here is a public everything here is public, right? And this here is great because it showcases how it works and what it is. So Copilot for security is a generative AI solution to help security analysts and security engineers, incident responders to perform better at their job, to go through a lot of data from a range of different solutions, I would say, not just products from Microsoft, a range of other products from all kinds of vendors, and of course, generate text to you or generate a summarization or make sense of the information you're asking with natural language, right? So think about how generative AI has revolutionized a lot of our day-to-day tasks over the past year. Now is the time for the same to happen to your security tasks. So I talk about Microsoft Defender XDR, I talk about Defender Threat Intelligence, Defender External Attack Surface Management, Defender for Cloud, Sentinel. It's a lot of technology, right? So when we think about anyone entering the job market, there's a lot of technology that people have to be across, and it's challenging for everyone, right? Particularly for those entering today. Now, when we think of a tool that will enable them to learn more and learn faster about what they're doing, with the security and privacy that is needed for security investigations, right? With the confidence that the data that you're sharing to the platform is not being utilized to train it back. Those are some immediate gains that Copilot for security is going to deliver to you. Additionally, it also is going to look for information across all these different products from Microsoft, but as I said before, across other sources of data, and be able to reason with it and being able to essentially look at your own data and retrieve whatever information is necessary based on the prompt that you sent it in natural language, naturally, right? So that's the beauty of it, done so in a secure fashion. Now, what's really important from this page that I'm showing to you right here is this diagram. This diagram is amazing. This is a closer look at the diagram. So this is how Copilot for Security works. Essentially, we're thinking of different Microsoft security solutions here, how you as the user of Copilot for Security is going to interact with a platform. Now, why do they mention here different Microsoft solutions here? Because Copilot for Security has an embedded experience. So think about you working within Defender XDR, for example. And when you're looking at an incident, you're going to see a blade containing Copilot for Security information in it. Also, there's a standalone version of it, which is this right here on the right-hand side. You can see that there's a representation of a web page that it's just between the user and the platform, where you can send text and natural language text to communicate with it. And when you're doing that, when you're interfacing with it via text, what actually happens is there is a user prompt that is sent to the platform. The platform then grounds your information or grounds your prompt based on your own data, right? Your organization's data. And that's one of the magics here, right? So what that means, it's actually looking at the plugins that you've enabled in the platform. Those plugins are connectors to different data sources. So think about how Copilot can access Defender XDR information, Defender for Endpoint, Defender for Office, Microsoft Entra, so identity information. It can also access Purview being, of course, Microsoft's data security and compliance information and platform. And it can also access a range of other plugins there or connectors that will be available at launch, but also that are being worked on with Microsoft partners. And that's really exciting, right? Looking at all these different data sources, it grounds your prompt based on those. It looks for what skills are necessary and what sort of plugins it needs to prompt based on your initial query. What it does afterwards, it essentially sends through this modified prompt to the LLM, the large language model from Microsoft. That is a large language model that is provided or that is powered by OpenAI, GPT-4. At the same time, it also makes sense of the responsible AI method and approach that Microsoft applies to its AI services. Next up, essentially what it does is Copilot for Security receives this LLM response. And then the next step after it receives the modified prompt from the plugins and the grounding, what it does, it's essentially receives the response back from the large language model. As you can see, step 4, and then it sends that information for post-processing through the plugins. So the plugins that I mentioned before, the same ones that were step 2. And finally, at step 6 here, what happens is Microsoft or Copilot for Security will actually apply a range of safety checks and security before it sends out the data back to the user, however the user is interfacing with it. What's really exciting that's not documented here yet, but was showcased at Microsoft Secure is how Copilot for Security is going to automate some tasks. So its ability to actually help the user and the agent and the security engineer to create automation based on prompt books. That is really exciting. I can't wait until I get my hands on that to showcase some of its capabilities. So that's really exciting. But that's essentially what Copilot for Security is, right? In a nutshell, it's a lot of things, but it's simplifying the cybersecurity and the SOC analyst experience between reasoning with the data between all different plugins and solutions that are currently utilized by the SOC. That's what it is. Now, this image right here is also released right after Microsoft Secure, and it's a better way to explain it, just simpler flow, right? But essentially, the human or the agent working at a SOC sends the prompt to the platform. Copilot for Security is essentially acts as an orchestrator here between these different plugins. And I like this diagram and this example because orchestrator is a great word to exemplify what it's doing. It's orchestrating a lot of different technologies and a lot of different prompts and answers to different solutions so that it gets a response back to the user. Now this here, the orchestrator determines the initial context, builds the plan using all available skills, so that's important. Then it builds the context, meaning it executes a plan to get the required data context to answer the prompt. Next up, it accesses plugins, so analyzes all data and patterns to provide intelligent insights, and then it works on responding back. So it combines all data and context, and model will work out a response. Last up, it formats the data for response and sends back the response to the user. So that's how it works in a clearer pathway for you to understand. Next up, I want to look at what products does it work with. So right out of the box, it's going to work with Microsoft Unified Security Operations Platform. That's really exciting. It's something I mentioned in the Defender XDR news over the last few months. Essentially, Sentinel and XDR combined into one platform. Copilot will be able to reason across all that data set coming from this unified platform. Microsoft Intune, so your managed devices will be accessible and data will be able to be gathered from these devices. Purview, like I said before, your information protection, your data loss prevention alerts are all going to be able to be queried from the platform. Microsoft Sentinel, incidents. Even more exciting stuff is demonstrated in the secure on-demand video. Make sure you watch that prompt book video. Defender Threat Intelligence, this is also really exciting. So think about how Defender Threat Intelligence as a solution for Microsoft helps you build more context around IP addresses, domains, and so on and so forth. That is all included into the data set that Copilot uses to build up reputable answers. Defender External Attack Surface Management, XDR, and Microsoft Enter. So a lot of integration out of the box from release, from when it's going to go generally available. So that's very exciting. But that's not all, because Microsoft also has this public page announcing the partners that are working with Microsoft Copilot for Security. So a range of private preview partners here, including managed security service providers, some independent software vendors, including a range of different security technologies there and providers. But they are essentially working with Microsoft product teams to help shape the development in several ways, right? So these can be refinement and validation of upcoming scenarios, providing feedback on product development and operations to be incorporated into future product releases. So that's really exciting because it's going to play an important role into upcoming extensibility of Copilot for Security. So that's key here for you starting to work with Copilot for Security, starting to look at the platform. Well, know that it's going to be really, really big in terms of its extensibility. Lastly, I'm going to leave you with this public page for Microsoft, right? So which it covers a lot of examples that were showcased at Secure, but what it's really important here is it has an FAQ at the bottom with some common questions. And it links up to the Microsoft Secure events, and what I also like about it, it also has a link to upcoming webinars about it. So if you want to learn more about it, make sure you get to one of these webinars right here. This live learning experience, these are upcoming, or if you're watching this in the future, it's probably already gone, but be sure you'll be able to find enough information for what you need. All right, with that all said and done, the last bit of information that I wanted to touch on is pricing. What's been talked about so far by Microsoft is about the monitoring of the usage and how it's going to be utilized. And essentially what you're going to see here is a consumption model, right? So Copilot for Security will be consumption model. It's not built. It's different than common E5 Defender constructs, most Defender constructs, but it's similar to Defender for Cloud, right? So think about how consumption model will enable a lot of customers to just get started by enabling a work for it to work for an hour, because that's how it's priced. It has initial pricing here, has one security compute unit. That's the unit of measure for Copilot for Security, and that's currently mentioned here at a rate of $4 USD per hour. You're going to be able to experience it at a very low cost from when it releases, which it will be on April 1st, 2024. Okay, so hopefully you're just as excited with Copilot for Security as I am. I'm surely looking forward to get my hands on it and to experience some of all of these gains in productivity, but gains in work when working investigations. Now, I haven't even touched on how to utilize the platform, because I want to do this when I get my hands on the GA product, which will be in a few days. So hopefully you're just as excited as I am. And if you like this kind of updates, make sure you like and subscribe, because I'm going to keep them coming. All right, see you next time.